What's up, everybody? I'm TJ.
And I'm Kelsey, and we are
the Nashville Wine Duo. Too much talking. Together.
I do. Yeah. I talk too much.
What's up, everybody?
What's up?
We're doing part 2. We stole Davis for the afternoon. Davis Campbell, the Nashville Som.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're going to force you to drink wine. And we're going to make you talk about it.
Because you're been so difficult.
So we are actually, we poured this awesome
I really like
skin contact wine. It's an orange wine from Bonny Doon Vineyard. And when you saw the bottle, you
knew it right away.
I mean, you knew right away.
Bonny Doon is a vineyard that's been around for a long time, and their rosé was particularly delicious for a very, very long time. And when you talk about orange wine, it's so much like rosé, right? Rosé is basically a lighter skin contact red grape wine. And orange wine or skin contact whites are just white wines that have been set on the skins, and it gives it that orange color. Yeah. And as we were talking about, they can be funky. Yeah. You just never know what you're going to get. And this Bonny Doon is pretty clean. It is a little tart in the finish, but it has some nice citrusy fruits to it. It's delicious. Skin contact wines, I've heard people say if you have never had one, you should sit down before your first sip because they're definitely bolder than most of the whites that you have. Yeah. And I think that that's true.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and a lot of people that I've talked to are not familiar with orange wine. I mean, you've got your small group of people that are becoming more aware of it, but they're all different.
Yes, they are. And you don't know what to expect.
Right.
And all the grapes are different. The one thing about orange wines is they have to be made from gray grapes or white wine grapes. And having that skin contact does change the flavor, it changes the texture, it does give it a little bit of tannin, which comes from the skins. And they're just interesting, funky wines that people love or they hate. It is a whole nother category of wine. So you have your whites, your reds, your sparklings, your rosés, and your orange.
Right.
And it's an old winemaking technique that goes back BC times.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
You said something about Pinot Grigio.
Yes, a lot of times when you're talking about real old school Pinot Grigio, this was the original style of Pinot Grigio was made with the skin contact. So they weren't always that very light, clean, crisp, tart flavor. They had a little more richness to them, and you can find them up in the Veneto area still that are orange like that, but I've never been able to find them here. So
yeah, I would love to get my hands on one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But orange is a fun style to try if you're looking for something different within a white. You can definitely find them all over the place now.
Yeah.
And generally, the orange style is more of the organic style of production where there's not a lot of manipulation going into it. Yep. They can be sustainably farmed. A lot of times you can find them biodynamic, and you get into all those crazy things, harvesting with the moon cycle and all those fun things. But the oranges are interesting. Yeah. It's just fun to try something different.
Yeah. I actually really love this wine. The more I'm drinking it, the more the nose is so nice too. What do you get on the nose?
And I'll get to that. But one of the things that I like about oranges is, a lot of the whites we drink super cold. As this one warms up, all of a sudden there's little honeyed notes, there's little nutty notes, and I'm smelling that right off the top here. Yeah. And it's almost a little perfumey now than it wasn't before, right?
Yeah.
There's a floral content to it, like a white flower.
Yeah.
I totally get the white
flower.
It's
one of my worst things. I'm terrible with flowers. Here's the thing: when you're tasting wine, if you don't know what something tastes like or don't know what something smells like, how are you supposed to relate the fact that this wine tastes or smells like something, right? Yeah. If I don't know what an orchid smells like, how do I know that that's what it smells like in a wine? And I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not good at flowers. I can be pretty good at fruit and herbs and things, but flowers are my downfall. But I know it smells like white flowers.
Definitely get the honey too. 100%.
They start to come out, right? It's great.
Really, really enjoy this.
Yeah, I'm really impressed.
What
by
were
this
some fun
one.
facts, TJ, that you have about this wine?
Randall was the guy that started Bonny Doon, and he was in charge of the popular brands Big House and Cardinals Inn and Pacific Rim. And he sold those later on, and to focus on Bonny Doon and do more sustainably farmed approaches to wine, which, I mean, I definitely taste that in this wine. I mean, it's saying low sulfites. I mean, I love this wine. It is really, really good.
And to be totally honest here, the Bonny Doon Rosé was so good. And then for me, it hit a little rocky patch for a while. And I think it's starting to come back to where it was before. And, you know, my personal opinion, that's just my palate. But I love to support companies that are trying to make really great high quality wines that are also affordable.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to have affordable wines.
Yeah, and this one got sent to us.
So here,
free wine is even better.
Yeah.
I have a question for you with all your knowledge. When it says dry farmed,
no irrigation.
No irrigation.
No irrigation.
So dry farm, they're just depending on the rain.
They're just
wow.
And you know, dry farmed is a style that is everywhere in the world, and a lot of areas are not allowed by their specific wine laws to actually irrigate, especially a lot of the European countries.
Do they do it a lot in America?
American, you know, is different by state and sometimes different by area. But a lot of times you are allowed to irrigate, but it does depend on where you are. Everybody has different laws and different regulations. But irrigation in the United States is a lot more common than it is in the European countries. It's also a lot more common in a lot of the New World countries. And things are changing. Again, with climate change, there's not as much rain, it's hotter, so people are reconsidering what these processes are.
So what if it was like 2 months, no rain, and you're like, man, this is gonna...
You know, here's the thing with you know, a natural style of winemaking is you depend on the climate. And that's a big part of your wine. And, you know, wine grapes, they do enjoy the struggle. So you need water, but hopefully you get enough water and enough sun that you can have these beautifully developed grapes to make fantastic wines out of.
Yeah.
Well, I like this one.
I'm a big
fan. Definitely need to find out where you can find it in Nashville.
Yeah, because we've tried a decent amount of orange wines now, and this is probably one of my favorites I've had.
Yeah.
I think some of the other ones we've had, sometimes they're just like what you were saying earlier, they just can be like a lot in your, like, going on in your mouth, and you're like, oh, okay, I want to do like maybe a glass, but I don't know, like, or it's small, I don't know if I could really enjoy this.
I think a lot of times with wine, that first sip that you hit is so enveloping. You're like, oh, this is fantastic, and then you have more through the glass and you realize, well, maybe it was just super concentrated all up front, and maybe the depth and interesting nuances are really not there, but they were just all in that concentrated fruit up front. And I think well-made wines have interesting nuances that last for a long time as you drink them.
Yeah. You said also the La Cigar.
La Cigar, I think it means UFO.
It does.
By the way.
No, it does actually.
UFO?
No, he's right.
Yes.
It's French.
Really?
It's French slang for UFOs. In 1954, a village in Châteauneuf-du-Pape wisely adopted an ordinance prohibiting the landing of such spacecraft in local vineyards. The ordinance has worked well, and there has been no such landings since the adoption of this far-sighted legislation.
Thank God there's no UFOs landing in Châteauneuf-du-Pape. So I think it's cool that they've adopted that. And I think the rosé is called Vineyard de Cigar.
And the front of this it's funny because so you wouldn't know if you like really look at the label, but you know, it looks like a chateau, this big vineyard, and then over the top, and it's like an old world looking picture, you know, with the sunset, and then on the left hand corner there's a UFO, and it's got the light on the chateau. I
love it.
So it's made, you know, you wouldn't, I don't know. I like how it looks like an old school painting with a UFO put in it.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Well, I guess he's really into Randall Graham is the guide,
Yeah.
and he's into French. The
I
Rhone
thought you were
region.
going to say you were
Yes, he's the Rhone Ranger. That's what they call him.
The Rhone Ranger?
Yes,
Really?
absolutely. He loves the Rhone varietals.
Wow.
So, there you go.
Well, there you go. I guess we should have started off with the Rhone Ranger.
Oh, hey, it's fun. I mean, he's a good guy.
That's so cool.
All right, well, cheers to that.
Cheers to this orange wine and the Nashville Som.
Oh, thanks for sharing.